Hi and welcome to the THRUNITE channel. So today we're comparing 5 different flashlights. We have the newer THRUNITE TN12 Pro. We have the Olight Warrior 3S. We have the Olight Warrior Mini 2. Here's the Fenix PD35 V3, and on the end to the right is the Streamlight ProTac HL-X. Now the THRUNITE, both Olights, and the Fenix here are all very similar lights in that they're all running on a single 18650 battery. They all have a reverse switch on the back of the light as well as a side switch to change the modes. And on the end here, the Streamlight ProTac, this also runs on an 18650, although it does not have a side switch. All right, but it is a very popular competitor. So the first thing to discuss here, of course, is the price and its highest output. That's two things that most people are looking at when you're looking at different flashlights. Of course, people have different needs for different modes and features, but usually you want to know how expensive is it and how bright can it get. So starting here on the left, we have the THRUNITE TN12 Pro. These currently sell for $49.99, and the highest output on this light is 1900 lumens. Next up here, we have the Olight Warrior 3S. These currently sell right now for $124.95. This has a high output of 2300 lumens. Next up, we have the Warrior. This is the Mini 2 from Olight. These currently sell for $89.95 and has a high output of 1750 lumens. Next up here is the Fenix PD35, again the V3 or version 3. These currently sell for $79.95 and this has a high output of 1700 lumens. And on the end here we have the Streamlight ProTac HL-X. These currently sell for around $79.99. This has a high output of about 1000 lumens. So the brightest here is the Olight Warrior 3S, coming in at 2300 lumens, but it is also the most expensive on the table at $124.95. All right, the Streamlight on the right is $79.99, but that has the least amount of output at 1000 lumens. Now the two that are pretty similar is the Olight Warrior Mini 2, coming in at $90 roughly, and having 1750 lumens, compared to the Fenix PD35, which comes in at about $80, so about $10 less, and has about 50 lumens less at 1700 lumens. So these are very comparable. Now, although all 5 lights do perform very well, and I do believe these are all very nice high quality lights, the THRUNITE TN12 Pro is only $50 and only 400 lumens less than the Olight Warrior 3S. So this TN12 Pro is brighter than these three, not quite as bright as this, but it's less than half the price. You can get yourself 2 of these and go out to dinner before you can afford one of these. So you have to ask yourself if the extra 400 lumens and some of the other features is worth that extra price tag. Now the one thing the Warrior 3S does have, which is kind of cool, is when you turn it on, it does show not only the power indicator as well as the output indicator. Okay, but you have to ask yourself, is that worth the extra money that it costs? So starting here with the THRUNITE TN12 Pro, there is a side switch as well as a tail switch. All right, by pushing the tail switch, just turns it on, the full turbo, which is 1900 lumens. If you want momentary on, just do a half press, all right, or just click it for constant on. Or you can turn the light on with the side switch, okay? If you push and hold, you're gonna see it's gonna cycle. In this case, it's going to low, medium, or high. If you want moonlight mode in the off position, you do a long press, and that's gonna give you your moonlight. Or if you just wanna go right to turbo, it's a double click, 1, 2. Or if you hit it 3 times, it'll go to strobe. At this point, if you have any issues with flashing lights, you might want to skip ahead. But 3 clicks to strobe. And there you go. Click it once to shut it off. So next up here is the Olight Warrior 3S. All right, as I mentioned before, when you turn this light on, there is an indicator. On the right is showing the battery power, and the left is showing the output. Okay, kind of an interesting feature. Again, a lot more of an expensive light, but it is something worth mentioning there. So this does have a side switch as well as the tail switch. If you want to just use the tail switch for momentary on, it's a half press, okay? And this is our high. Now, while it's momentary, if you push in harder, it goes to the turbo, but this is still momentary. When you let go, it's going to shut off. If you just want to turn it on, you just do a full click, okay? So going to the side switch here, if you push and hold while it's off, just like THRUNITE, you're going to access the lowest mode. In the case of Olight, they call it moonlight mode as opposed to THRUNITE, which is called firefly. Okay, but then you're going to just push and hold and it'll cycle through the other modes. So, and you can shut it off with the back or the side switch, either way. All right, so next up here we have the Olight Warrior Mini 2. All right, very similar to the previous light from Olight. We have a side switch and we have a tail switch. The tail switch works the same way. All right, so if we do a half press while holding it, it's going to be the high and momentary on. If you push all the way in, it's going to go to that turbo momentary on. When you let go, it's going to shut off. Or just a quick firm push will keep a constant on. And of course, just like the other light, if you do a long press on the side button, it's going to access the moonlight mode, all right, which is going to be the longest runtime but the lowest output. And then just push and hold, and it's going to cycle through the other modes here. All right, so next up we have the Fenix PD35 V3. It's a very interesting light. It is definitely different, just like when I do a lot of other comparisons on flashlights. Fenix tends to be different than everything else, right? So we have a tail switch and we have a side switch. The one thing is you cannot use the side switch by itself. So if I just push and hold, nothing happens. If I tap it, nothing happens. So this could be looked at as positive or negative depending on your situation or what you like. The positive is that it won't accidentally turn on if pressed inside of a bag. The negative is if you want to hold a light like this, you still need to initially turn it on with the reverse switch. Okay, so the reverse switch, if you just want to use it momentary, it's just a half press like every other light. Let go, it shuts off, or click it for constant on. But again, you have to turn this on with the tail switch before you can change modes with the side switch. And with this, you're not pushing and doing a long hold like the other flashlights. All you're doing is just individually clicking it. So each time you click it, it rotates to a different mode. Now, if you want to access strobe on this Fenix, you have to turn the light on the back, and then you have to push and do a long hold on the side. So of course, strobe is about to flash rapidly. So if you have a problem with that, I would skip ahead in the video. So push and hold, and then access the strobe mode. Okay. Now, one thing I do like about this is that when strobe's on, it does change the wavelength. Okay. So if you notice, I know it's all blurry right now because the camera's having a hard time picking up, but you can see it's super, super fast, and then it cuts to slower. Then it goes back to super fast. This is actually really advantageous when you're trying to use this against people or animals to distract them. Having the wavelength change is a huge bonus. Unfortunately, the downside is it's not easy to access. If you're using strobe to protect yourself or disorientate an animal or a person, you want to get to it quickly. So having to turn this on first, okay, from the rear, then changing your grip and pushing and holding, it just makes it a little complicated. All right, and last up here is the Streamlight ProTac. This is the HL-X model. Okay, this has 3 modes. There's no side switch, as I mentioned before. So basically, if you want momentary on, it's just a half press like the other lights. Okay, you let go, it shuts off, or you can click it on. But in order to change the modes, you have to rapidly do half presses. Okay, and it's going to cycle between high, low, and strobe. So high, strobe, low, high, strobe, low. And basically, when you get to the mode you want, like let's say I want low, once you do the half press, you push all the way in to keep it on that mode. So to get to low, I have to do high, strobe, low, and click in. Okay, if I want strobe, it's 2. It's a half press and another half press. All right, so it becomes a little more difficult, especially if you're not used to this platform, if you're not used to using this light all the time. When you first get it, it's going to be a little weird. You're going to end up cycling through a bunch of times. So that's definitely a negative, but once you get a hang of it, it's not that big of a deal. But of course, compared to the other 4 lights in this particular video, it's lacking all the extra modes, the super low mode, okay, which is very, very nice, especially for camping. You really want to conserve that battery power. So it's more of a simple light in that respect, and it's also the weakest, I'll use air quotes there, because 1,000 lumens is still really bright. However, it can't compete with the 1,700, 1,750, 2,300, or 1,900 lumen outputs on the other lights. So this is the little guy, so to speak, of this group. All right, so it's a little underpowered in comparison. All right, so let's get outside and take a look at some beam shots. All right, so first up we have the THRUNITE TN12 Pro. All right, roughly 15, 20 feet away from the wall here. All right, let's go up, down, left and right. So you can see that nice tight hot spot in the middle, as well as plenty of spill as I rotate that around. All right, so next up here is the Olight Warrior 3S. All right, you can see we have less of a tight hot spot, more of a spotlight. You go up, and down, and left, and right. So again, if you notice, it's more of a spotlight, and you can see the spill that's on this doesn't have a distinct circle, kind of just fades away. So there you go. That's the Olight Warrior 3S. All right, next up here is the Olight Warrior Mini 2. All right, very similar in that we have more of a spotlight. Let's go up and down and left and right. Next up here is the Fenix PD35. Turn that on. You go up and down, left and right. So this is similar to the THRUNITE, the TN12 Pro, in that it has more of a tight hotspot, all right, as well as a distinctive spill line. And last up here is the Streamlight ProTac. This is the HL-X. All right. So we go up and down, left and right. This has a more distinctive center hotspot as well as the spill line. All right, so my conclusion. Although I love all 5 of these lights, I think they're all very good high quality lights. You can't really go wrong picking any of them. They're all going to serve you very well. But there's also pros and cons to everything. As far as the beam shot or how the light throws, the pattern, that's really personal preference. Some people prefer all spill, some people want all throw, and a lot of people want just a little bit of each. I think all these lights do offer a little bit of each, but most of these, you know, at least these 4, are offering a lot more throw, more capability for distance. The Streamlight ProTac, just a little bit, it comes up just a little short with the throw. It has a little bit more spill on that end of it. The one thing I can say for sure, though, is the price tag on the THRUNITE TN12 Pro is just right. For $50, it's very hard to compete with the rest of these because it is so affordable, and it's pretty much outperforming everything except for this Warrior 3S from Olight. But the price tag, again, being more than double. You can get 2 of these lights and probably 2 extra batteries for the same price as just the one light. So, you know, again, pros and cons to everything. The Fenix is different. It's always been different. Every time I compare different flashlights, Fenix always does its own thing with the UI. I think it would definitely need to get a lot of time with that light to get used to how it works. I just don't like the fact that I can't use the side button independently. Not the end of the world, but just, you know, something worth mentioning. All 4 of these lights, actually all 5, do have bi-directional pocket clips, which is, I think, pretty important these days. So you can clip this, you know, either with the head up or the head down, just depending on how you want. They are all removable. The only thing is on the Streamlight here, you do need to use a Phillips head screwdriver. There's 2 Phillips head screws here to remove it, and it is a different design where you have a shorter clip if you wanted the head down, but if you wanted the head up, it's kind of this longer version of the clip. It's just a different design, but I do like the fact that these other ones just pull right off. So if you just wanted to, you know, pop the pocket clip off, you just do so fairly quickly. So anyway, that's it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. THRUNITE does giveaways all the time. If you're not familiar, they are 100% free. All you have to do to enter is comment on these videos and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.